is one of the more interesting films of 2025. But looking at October, could this be the best movie released of the month? Now, if you have watched the trailer or read the synopsis, you have an understanding that this is going to be about two men who kidnap a high-powered CEO and they think she's an alien. An alien. Now, when you sit down and you watch the first 10 to 15 minutes of this movie, I have to admit, it almost is very slow-paced to the point where you start to wonder what is actually going to happen on the screen. However, what I think they do a good job of in the first part of this movie is setting the tone, or they set the tone, of the two cousins that are going to be involved throughout this plot. Now, Emma Stone takes on the role of a high-powered CEO named Michelle Fuller, not Michelle Tanner from Full House, but Miss Fuller is moving up in the world at a medical company. Medical testing is what I kind of got the idea of. And ultimately, they have some backlash. There's some issues that have happened in the past that has really got people to the point where they are mad and upset. Now, you insert the two cousins and you get to see where their lives are impacted throughout this whole testing scenario. Now, Teddy is the ringleader of this. You can tell that he is sitting in his computer, watching videos, reading, listening to audiobooks, really consuming material that is shaping his mind and causing him to kind of look at all of the things that have happened to him and figure out how aliens and the extraterrestrial world has all had a part in the downfall of his life. Now, Don, obviously, if you watch, there are some issues that he is facing on his own, but Teddy is convincing Don that he knows all of the answers to everything. Now, when you look at the relationship between Don, Teddy, and Michelle, you start to wonder, why is their relationship even on the screen? From the perspective of, why is she the one that they want? Now, as this film continues, I will say they do a good job of actually shaping the reasoning that she is the target of this kidnapping. But what is really the driving force of this entire movie is whether or not she is an alien. Now, is she an alien? Is she not an alien? They don't know. But what she realizes is that this is a game. And the only way to meet or find survival is to kind of listen to the communication, understand the dialogue of Teddy and really his shape of mind, his point of view on things, and hopefully she can make it out alive. Now, I have to say, this movie was a lot better than I ever expected it to be. There was a lot within this movie that was entertaining. The story was good. And I know the director in past movies has faced criticism about the way his movies shape out, but I think this was good. Now, if we get into cons, even with the movie that is good, there's some bad to it. And I think the most obvious con within this movie is the ending. I think the ending of this movie is strung out a little bit. I think kind of when you look at the doors, whether they're open or closing, I think there's no closure in the sense of you see what ultimately happens. And unless you are looking for very minuscule details, that is where I think you would see why the ending is the way it was. But I have to say, for me, the ending was not good. And so that is a problem. I think another situation that makes this movie more intriguing. And I don't really want to say it's a con, but I think there should have been more to the story, is a cop and Teddy and their relationship. Now, you kind of get to see and listen in the dialogue about what happened and kind of why it happened, but you can never confirm 100% that that was the cause. Now, if we get into rating, this film for me is about a 3.8 out of 5, maybe even a 4. I think there is a lot of good in this movie that is going to leave the audience excited. It's going to have the audience expecting more throughout it. And so I think the dialogue, the relationship, the characters, and the way that everything flows together, this is a movie you should see this weekend. And like I said, for me, it's about a 3.8 out of 4. Begonia is a movie that you should see this weekend. But make sure you go drop a comment. Let me know, are you going to see it? Have you seen it? And let me know. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. We will continue more reviews this weekend. It is Halloween, my favorite time of the year. So stay safe if you're going trick-or-treating, and I will talk to you all later.